And now I'd like to move into the keynote speech. We'd like to invite SATREP-NTDs Program Supervisor, Professor Haruo Watanabe, under the title of Importance of Cooperation in Research with African Countries for the Control of Infectious Diseases. Upon his presentation, allow me to introduce his bio. Professor Watanabe, after serving as the director of the National Institute of Infectious Disease and professor of the Graduate School of Medicine, International University of Health and Welfare, he is currently an honorary fellow of the National Institute of Infectious Diseases, president of the Kurozumi Medical Research Foundation, and program supervisors of the International Science and Technology Joint R&D Promotion Project in the medical field. And he is a program supervisor. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Professor Watanabe. So the floor is yours, Professor Watanabe. Well, thank you very much. I would like to talk under the title of Importance of Cooperation in Research with African Countries for the Control of Infectious Diseases. In controlling the infectious disease, I would like to highlight the importance of cooperative and joint researches. So on the slide, this reflects the past 10 years important infectious diseases, how much occurrence we have evidenced. WHO has designated infectious diseases with high potential for international spread as public health emergencies of international concern, called FAPE, and is now calling for the fact that if there is a spread of such infection, international cooperation needs to be established immediately. In the last 10 years, as you can see, the 6 diseases listed here, including HIV, influenza, Ebola, Zika fever, and COVID-19. And of course, the COVID-19 is still an ongoing pandemic. So these are listed here, as you can see. In addition to that, there are similar diseases that has not been declared under FAPE, but important infections in 2003, highly pathogenic avian influenza and SARS, MERS, and also avian influenza, and also comorbid drug resistance. It's called a nightmare bacteria that have emerged, and that has become evident. In 2015, in terms of colistin-resistant strain, have also made its appearance. On this slide, as you can see, recently, some international issues which are under spotlight for international concerns are now emerging in numbers. So in terms of spread and prevalence, there is no border to these diseases. So the international arena needs to work in a united manner as a global response to cope with the situation. And now, as for Japan, these international infection, how have Japan responded? The Japanese government in having 3 initiatives as one of the diplomacy activities. One is that the United Nations G20, G7, in terms of international cooperation from the standpoint of within the international framework. The second is a transfer of science and technology that Japan has cultivated in other countries, especially developing countries, and to work with to deal with them. And the third is a new approach, which have researchers in Japan and the partner country could work together in conducting researches so that it could be implemented and contribute to the society of our country. So in terms of SATREP and NTD, such project that will contribute under this context. In terms of the SATREP program, SATREP is the abbreviation for Science and Technology Research Partnership for Sustainable Development. And therefore, an international issue. Japan and the partner countries, scientific ways of solving this issue are being aimed with joint research. In terms of international, of course, environment, there are 4 areas. One is the control of infectious diseases. The second is the response to environmental problems, such as global warming. The third is the utilization of biological resources. And the fourth is the control of the natural disasters. Within that, in response to the infectious diseases, AMED and JICA had collaborated in offering funding so that we will be able to work together. AMED it provides research funding to our Japanese research institution, and JICA in order to support by means of offering equipment and other material necessary for the partner country to implement and conduct research. So in terms of JICA and AMED, achieving those goals in going through number 1 to number 3 objective. So there are 4 objectives for SATREP. One is in the area of joint research field of science and technology. So it's a win-win relationship that needs to be nurtured between Japan and the partner country. Number 2, by acquiring new technology and knowledge, the global issues, we need to advance in solving the global issues and enhancing the scientific capabilities. Number 3 is in terms of enhancing the crisis management of the partner country. Ultimately, the goal is to strengthen the partner country to conduct their own research in a sustainable manner. At the same time, nurturing young talents and creating a network of collaborative research system is also another aim. Number 4 is that the social implementation of the result of researches, so we'll be able to practically solve the social issues. At the moment, the SATREP business project, these are some of the partner countries listed here. So as you can see on this map, Africa, Asia, Latin America, many of the countries, we have joint research initiative. Next, I would like to introduce the NTDS project, which NTD stands for Neglected Tropical Diseases. So it is literally a tropical disease that has been neglected. This project was proposed in 2015 at G7 Summit by our former Prime Minister Abe. Some of the issues in Africa, the NTDs, how we be able to control them, and a joint research in order to contribute to solving these diseases is the aim of this project. Africa and our academia, university, and research institute will work together in the area of medicine and public health, basic research, and also therapeutic and preventive methods has to be researched. And based on the result and deliverables in control NTDs, some of the countermeasures is going to be proposed and advocated throughout this joint effort. This slide shows the overview of the NTDs project. Well, NTDs, the universities and research institutions in Japan, well, AMED provides research funds to Japanese university and research institutes. And receiving these funds, the academia and institute will work with African University and Research Institute and conclude a contract and conduct a joint research. At this time, in terms of the government of the partner country and medical institutions and hospitals, needs to be involved from the very beginning. The next few slides would introduce SATREP and NTDs project. Some of the overview of the project will be introduced from here onwards. This slide shows the full SATREPS project title are listed here. South Africa, Zambia, and Democratic Republic of Congo, Ghana, some of the joint studies and collaboration in Gabon as well. First of all, South Africa, joint research. From Nagasaki University and South Africa, some of the research institute have worked together for this project. The objective is to use a meteorological science to predict the amount of rainfall and to estimate the timing of malaria vector outbreaks by predicting the rainfall. And utilizing climate science, the rainfall temperature will be predicted. So we will be able to predict the occurrence of the mosquito that's a vector to malaria. If we can predict them, then we will be able to stockpile diagnostic and therapeutic drugs for malaria in advance. And intensive measures such as spraying insecticides to eliminate malaria-carrying mosquitoes, which will ultimately reduce the incidence of malaria. As shown on the model, as you can see, in 2016, 2017, the outbreak of malaria we have been predicted 3 months in advance. So this method is utilizing and cooperating with the local government of South Africa so that it is utilized a malaria early warning system. This is with Hokkaido University in Zambia and Democratic Republic of Congo. It is a epidemiological analysis of zoonotic viral infections in terms of some of the chlamydia, hemorrhagic diseases, and fevers. This is subject to such hemorrhagic fevers. So in terms of antibodies, DNA, to understand the actual status of infection in wildlife, domestic animals, and humans. Notably, we developed a simple Ebola detection kit and demonstrated utilizing the serum of the local people, showing efficacy of the system. And with our PMD, it has been approved as a detection kit here in Japan. And in the future, we are waiting for the approval from WHO. So the outbreak of Ebola, some of the African nations suffering from this outbreak, we hope that this detection diagnostic kit will be utilized effectively. Then next is Ghana and Japan. In terms of diarrhea diseases, was also have become evident in Ghana. In Ga West district, the surveillance system has been established, and the patient sample from the local hospital to Ghana's local Noguchi institution, we collected them in order to conduct pathogen testing. As a result of that, in terms of the salmonella disease and rotavirus, this virus-based diarrhea is a quite important situation in the field has been understood. In the future, the surveillance system to be established, we hope that this will contribute to the society. Next is with Nagasaki University and Gabon, a joint research in terms of public health. In terms of 16 virus-based infection, surveillance has been established, and that framework was also launched. And wild animals and their meat, beast meat and humans, the infection between them has been clarified. In terms of the countermeasures for the spread of these diseases, we were able to offer data points to the administration so that they will be able to utilize as a countermeasure going forward in the country. And next is NTD project. There are, as you can see, Burkina Faso, Zambia, and African regions, Pan-Africa, 3 projects have been completed, and they all have bear fruit. One of them is Nagasaki University project. Developed a system to measure serum antibodies for several NTD target diseases using a batch antibody assay system. And the combination of the result, the antibody positive agent with the housing information, by linking these two information, you'll be able to visually identify the infected areas. Or this could be utilized for local infection control. Also, Hokkaido University and Zambia jointly developed an inexpensive rapid diagnostic system for leprosy and African trypanosomias. So this could be found rapidly, and could be made into practical use. Especially, dry lamp method has been developed, and at the field, they have found a way to utilize this effectively. And JK University has been working with Burkina Faso to look into the mosquito vectors on dengue fever virus. Dengue fever virus, the mosquito vectors. This is a virus DNA that had been developed and also developing repellents and new method to reduce the number of mosquitoes carrying dengue fever virus have been conducted. So the reduction of the mosquitoes with the vector is expected to decrease significantly. There are several projects. I have given you an outline of those. But each project is really a collaboration with the partner countries, and we were able to seek good findings. In summarizing the success, those are the list of the success of these projects. A strong relationship with a partner country even before the start of the project, and we have a good track record of joint research is a source of success. Number two is the goal of the project were clearly defined, and this is very important. The third is that understanding the spread of the disease, the regions subject to research are selected and understood based on these requirements. Number four, before the project starts, and even within the project, the government and administrative agency with the partner countries who are responsible for infection disease control, there is a close communication, and the preparation for the social implementations are already there. Number five, in terms of after the completion of the project, the partner countries, they need to continue the researches, and there needs to be a sustainability of the work that has been done. Number six is young researchers development. People assets and people development has to be there. And those are the list. And from the perspective of these points that I have highlighted, there are several, of course, NTDs research that are being able to bear fruit. And this is going to be utilized practically in the society and further worked upon. And this is our expectation in the future. So in the future, what are the results of the project? There are three things that I would like to highlight today. One is social practice. As an application to society, an easy and inexpensive diagnostic method has to be developed and made it available for use in Africa. In African regions, expensive or complicated diagnostic system or equipment will not be utilized effectively in certain situation. So simple and inexpensive is very important and something that could be utilized in the field. These diagnostic methodologies are going to be very significant and important. And some of the diagnostic methods are utilized in the field already. And as I mentioned earlier, in Evora, the diagnostic already PMDA has approved this diagnostic tech, and we are again waiting for the approval from the WHO. The WHO approval, if we could obtain the approval to African nations, it could be utilized in a Pan-African regime, and we are hoping that this will be made into reality. Number two is through joint development and research. We'd like to nurture young researchers. The local young researchers with the Ph.D. curricula of Japanese university academia, and going through these experiences, they will be able to obtain a doctor's degree. And going back to their home country, with it, they would also be able to lead and to nurture and lead the young researcher in the local region. It's a good cycle, a vicious cycle. Nurturing young researchers means that in the future of Africa, they are going to be performing as the leaders of these nations. So people development, this is the most, of course, ideal method in the cycle of human development. Number 3 is the project have 5 years term, but after 5 years, some of the result is difficult to be continuously utilized after 5 years. So in seeking for new development, the project extension and continuation is something that we believe is going to be important and needed. So the Japanese government and through JICA and other research institution and other funding organization, I hope that they will be able to consider the importance of the continuity of the effort. If we are to conclude just in 5 years, the tangible success that was developed is going to be terminated, will be stopped there. And we have seen so much of these cases. So with SATREPS and NTD project, the results and track record needs to be continuously be implemented after 5 years. So our countries and the partner countries and other institutions all involved, we need to think about the significance of this continuity issue. Last but not least, as AMED, we expect that this project will produce good results through our joint research between Africa and Japan, and will contribute to the control of infectious diseases such as NTDs and public health problems and issues to maintain the health of the people around the world. So that concludes my part of the presentation. Thank you.